In our last V10 MX-5 video, we came up with this plan for V10 number 2, and now we're going to start initiating this plan, starting with cutting even more space in here for that thing. Dara, I was a very happy boy the last time I was here. Seeing that engine sitting in there, it was like a glove. It was straight in there. How are you feeling after that initial look?
It's a tight fitting glove, yeah, it'll be all right. We'll remove some of the stuff, and I think we should have another go at just trying to get it a little bit further back in as the next sort of thing and work out exactly how far we can get it.
Yeah, so I guess I brought it here with just the engine and gearbox out, but all the other ancillaries are kind of still here. So are you saying you just want to completely clear it so we know exactly what we're working with?
Strip it out, get rid of everything. Yeah, you know, even stuff which is going to stay, like the ABS pump and stuff. And I'd imagine that, you know, this nice little power steering reservoir will stay, but it'd be nice to just clear the decks, and then we know exactly the space that we've got. It also means that nothing risks getting damaged while we're working on the car. I'm sure we can probably leave things like your master cylinder and servo.
I guess all the wiring, like we're not going to use that Mazda loom at all, really, are we?
We will for the body side of things.
Okay.
And I don't know how the body and the engine stuff ties together. You know, on the cars that we're used to working with, you'll be able to take the engine out with the loom, with the ECU connected.
Okay.
And then there's just a few plugs that just cross over. I don't know what this is like. It does look like that's some of the engine loom there, and that seems to connect onto the chassis loom. So we may just have to just sort of lift it up out of the way. But yeah, I'm keen to just get this clear, and we can work out what needs to go where.
Sure, so once we're done that, hopefully we can start removing, because we saw some bits around here, bits of body that are clearly going to need to be removed. Yeah. So hopefully we'll be removing some Mazda today.
Yeah, we can certainly put a few cuts in it, definitely.
Okay, good. I guess the interesting thing is what is behind that.
Yeah.
And we don't really know that yet, but it would be quite handy to just...
100%, yeah, so we can drill out a few of the spot welds, make a couple of cuts, keep it nice and neat, have a look underneath and see what's there, and then obviously do the same with the other side. But yeah, we'll just try and do it in a nice sort of orderly manner rather than just like lopping great big holes.
Nah mate, chop shop, let's go. Something that could come in very handy once we have a BMW engine Mazda is this little son of a gun here, a Carly OBD plug-in. They are sponsoring today's video, and while our build is getting underway, let's plug this into another V10 BMW to see what's up. It feels so good to be back in a V10 BMW. This is actually Dara's very own E61 M5 Touring with a manual. You should definitely hit him up before these things become 50k, even 100k cars. Using a Carly is super simple. You just put it in to the OBD2 port in your car. Yep, we're in. Get onto the app, connect up to that via Bluetooth, and we're in. Right, let's hear that V10. First things first, let's run a diagnostics check, because let's face it, it's a BMW with 10 cylinders, there's going to be some issues. As it scans, it will tell you how many issues it's found. We're 7% in, 10%, we've found our first issue. I think there's going to be a few, sorry Dara. Okay, the diagnostic check is finished and we have 9 issues, one of them being very bad. It's saying dynamic stability control, so I imagine, you know, it's been manual swapped. It'll be something that it's not quite sure of that Dara's done to the car. The others though, air conditioning, telephone, gateway, head-up display, they're all just amber. So what's really cool, to get rid of them, you can just go clear issues. It then does its thing, chatting to the ECUs around the car. Issues are being cleared. And with that, Dara's car is completely clear. It was all good in the end. Thank you, Carly. You're welcome, Dara. As an engineering nerd, what I also really like is that Carly has live data. with your car starter, you can go in, vehicle systems, and then you have a whole load of options. Let's go for cooling, because I liked thermodynamics at uni. Let's go for a coolant outlet temperature, and then the output value that's on the dash here. Select live values, start monitoring. So it will tell me that the output temperature of the coolant is exactly 64 degrees right now, and the output that's on here is 93.6, which totally makes sense. That's really cool. That means you can kind of see the amount of heat that's being gained into the water while going around the cycle. That's cool. To get 15% off your Carly adapter, use the discount code, which will be on the screen now, and the link in the description below. So get yourself one of these and get yourself one of these to use it on. Again, thank you to Carly for sponsoring today's video. Some expert cutting there, Dara. If there was room for a V10 earlier, now there's room for a W16, frankly. It looks huge in here.
It's a little bit bigger. We've taken the corners off. I reckon we should try and offer it up again.
Yeah, so I guess you've kind of squared up everything as much as possible. I guess the steering column's kind of got in the way here, but
yep.
Yeah, that looks, so the manifold and kind of the edge of the engine was catching just there, wasn't it? So.
Yeah, it's a rough cut. It could do with a bit of tidying up. You can see the chassis rail in there isn't actually welded, so that section that we've cut out was pretty structural.
Sure.
So we're going to have to brace, or reinforce all of that area eventually, but hopefully we've got a little bit more space now where we can chuck the engine in.
Okay, let's get that V10 in here for the second time, and yeah, it's just gonna slip in now. You can drop it from a couple of feet. I'll just go.
Let's do it.
Cool. So that's now in again, and that side seems okay, but this side, is that an oil pump that's catching there on the sump?
Yeah, there's oil pumps on each side of the sump that pump oil up to the top of the engine, up to the heads. We can unbolt those for now, because obviously the subframe that we're going to fit, hopefully will have enough space to get rid of all of that.
And then what is this clutch?
That's the clutch master cylinder. It's in the way. Cut it.
Fine.
Yeah, let's hack it off. Let's hack it off.
It was so cool seeing my vision coming together, but really it would only work by getting that S85 lower and lower. We'll be using a custom subframe anyway, so Dara was determined to hack the Mazda subframe to bits to properly nestle the V10 in place and see how it was looking.
If you shunt it.
Shunt her in.
Inch or two that way. Yep, good.
Yeah?
Yep.
How are we looking on there?
Yep, nothing in the way.
Oh my goodness.
This is gonna slot. So is that the engine now resting fully on the subframe?
Pretty much, yeah. We've got the sump, where we've cut the sump out, it's just sat on the subframe.
And the steering rack passes straight through this little bit here?
Yeah, it goes straight through where it would do on the M5.
Okay.
The only thing is now is we can actually see how much of the transmission tunnel we're actually going to have to cut.
Yeah, so that's a good like 3 or 4 inches, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite a bit wider. But she is very close to being in. The only reason why it won't sit level is because the bell housing's touching the rear bulkhead now. I don't want to cut more of the front subframe out, which would allow that to happen, which would, you know, sort of allow the engine to pivot that way.
Okay, so is this height pretty much, even with the custom subframe, this height is pretty much...
Still needs to go lower. Even
think?
Yeah, we need it as low as we can. If we have to, we'll put a sub guard under it, but it's going to fit.
Good, that's exactly what I want to hear. And I guess once it's in there and it's attached to a subframe that makes it all fit, it's then just kind of completing the rest of the jigsaw puzzle with the ancillaries and exhaust and everything onto it, basically.
Yeah, it's only a small piece of the puzzle, but it's a good one.
Okay, good. I'm very, very pleased. I wanted us to get some cutting done today, and I mean the result of it, this engine's just got lower and lower and lower. How do you feel about how it's sitting now?
Well, it's a little bit on the piss, but
Yeah, a wee bit, yeah.
yeah, it's almost as low as it can go. It will go lower.
So I guess when it comes to fitting the, I mean, we found out in the last episode, the gearbox, you know, the tunnel's actually quite big, so it fitted okay, but I guess aligning the two might actually mean we need to really have a go at that transmission tunnel, cutting it up.
Yeah, for sure it needs quite a bit cutting out. I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, there's going to be a heater matrix box or something in behind there that's going to get sacrificed for space.
Okay, so what is the next step then? It's in, but I guess in my head, it's then getting a subframe sorted.
Yes.
So what information do you need to take from this setup right now to then give to subframe man, who we met in the pub last night?
yeah, well, you know, that's where you meet all the best people.
Yes.
So, yeah, well, we're going to supply him with a subframe. He will then be able to jig all of the essential mounting points. We'll keep it as minimalist as possible so we can get the engine mounted on the subframe in here, nice and level and how we want it, and then start beefing up that subframe with the very little space that we've got.
Okay, so there might be a bit of trial and error with sort of basic subframes until we nail exactly what it's going to be.
Lots, yeah.
Okay, well, I know it's not got the plenums on, but this is sitting the lowest we've seen so far. Shall we test fit the bonnet?
Yeah.
Because I've got a feeling, I don't know, we'll see. Let's see if this clicks down. Right. If this clicks down, this is installed.
I'm going to leave it to you, mate. Go on.
That is in.
Nice.
That is an S85 in a Mazda MX-5 with the stock bonnet, and it's closed down. Yes, the plenums aren't on, but bloody hell, Darren. This is going to work, isn't it? I'm so positive about this.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a truly unique and genuinely quite good engine swap.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting.
We are 3 episodes in now to V10 MX-5 number 2. I hope that the next V10 MX-5 video you guys see is with car number 1, the 2 litre. It will totally depend on how things are going with that engine, but fingers crossed the content will be with that car next. The guys here at Everything M, they are doers, and I mean, look at this. This project is properly cracking on, and I can imagine not too long in the future this engine will be bolted in, wired up, plumbed in, and then it will be started up. We will have a running V10 MX-5. I'm probably slightly getting ahead of myself, but I'm super excited about this car. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. I've been Mike, and don't forget to subscribe to DRIVETRIBE.